All right, guys, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to head over to Hostinger. We're going to go to our DNS and name servers, and we're going to create a DNS record. It's an A type. The name is going to be portfolio, and it's going to point to your VPS. TTL is going to be 14400. So I already added the record, so mine's right over here. So this is where our portfolio is going to live. So that's pretty much all we have to do with Hostinger. Once you put that DNS record, you should be okay. We're going to make sure we have pushed the whole repo to GitHub, so that way we can clone it from GitHub onto our VPS. So that right now is what we just have to make sure that right now is what you have to have done. So once we do that, we can come back to Visual Studio. We can SSH into our VPS, and now what we're going to do is we're going to create we're going to make directory, and we're going to call this portfolio. We're going to call it portfolio YouTube. Let's call it that. Now we can clear out of that. What we're going to do now is we're going to say ls. We're going to cd into portfolio YouTube. Clear out of that. When you say ls, there's nothing in there, so that's how you know there's nothing. The portfolio YouTube folder is clean. There's nothing in it. So here we're going to say git clone. And as of right now, our portfolio repo is going to be public. We're going to change that later, but just keep in mind it's public right now. So I'm going to show you guys how to set up the CI/CD pipeline when it's private, when your repo is also private. So we're going to come over here. We're going to say copy this this link here. We're going to copy that, and we're going to come to git clone, paste that in there, and we're going to clone into our folder. So we can clear out of that. Now we have this, so we can cd into portfolio YouTube. When we ls, when we list everything, you can see it's all there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to configure an Nginx as our reverse proxy. So we're going to say sudo nano /etc, sudo nano /etc/nginx/sites available so we're going to call this portfolio .boltluna.io. So you're going to call it what yours is named. So my domain is boltluna.io, and this is a subdomain called portfolio. So that's how we got to this point. So we're going to do that. We're going to open this up, and I'm just going to copy and paste the Nginx server code. So here we're going to say this server. So if you're wondering where I got this, you can go over to my deploying the Next.js 14 app video. The description, it's one of my more popular videos. The description, you can find this exact template there. So we're just going to do this, and it's going to be called portfolio.boltluna.io. Cool. And here within our packing.json, we're just going to say this is going to be production. Let's give it production number 1045. Cool. So let's come back over here and let's push that. So git add, git commit message. We're going to say production port. And then we're just going to git push. Awesome. So when we come back to this, we're going to say our local host, our proxy is going to be localhost 1045. Okay. And that's practically it. So we're going to say yes, enter, that's it. Now we're going to enable the configuration via symlink. So I'm just going to copy and paste from that from that description I told you about. So it's going to look like this, except we're going to change your app name to portfolio dot boltluna.io. There we go. Sudo Nginx test. So the test is successful, that's fine. And we're gonna reload Nginx. So sudo systemctl reload Nginx. Cool. So we're all done with that. Now we're gonna say, let's come over here. So let's cd back in here and let's say git clone. Oh, wrong one. So let's go back to git clone. Give it 1 second here. So cd into portfolio, cd into portfolio YouTube. And here it's not git clone that we're looking for, it's git pull. So why is it? Oh, clear ls cd portfolio YouTube, and we're gonna say git pull. There we go. So we're good with that. So after doing that, now we want to make sure we have vim.env, and we're going to go to our .env here. So we have .env local. We're going to create .env, just a .env, and put everything within our .env inside that .env. So let me explain this well. We're going to create within our repo here, within our folder here. So let me explain this properly. So within our application here, we're going to create another file called .env. So here we're going to say .env, and we're going to take everything within .env local and place it into .env. So that way it knows within production, we're going to be using this .env. We're also going to take everything we put in this .env into this .env here. So that way our VPS has that .env within it as well. So let's go ahead and do that off screen because they're credentials and you don't want everyone to see your credentials. After doing that, we're pretty much all set. So we have our .env here. It's going to be ignored. So let's make sure git ignore has .env and .env local. So they're both going to be ignored. Vim.env has our credentials as well. So we're all set. So now what we want to do is we're going to state, we're going to secure our application with SSL. So I'm just going to copy and paste the commands. Remember, we're getting this from the video deploying the Next.js app on Hostinger. So that's the video. I'm going to place it in our description. I'm going to place the video link in the description so that way you can go to that description and copy the templates that I'm using. So we're going to come over here, paste this in, and here we're just going to say portfolio.boltluna.io. So let's try that again. So first of all, this should be portfolio.boltluna.io. Okay, let's do this. PS aux grep cert bot. Okay, so that's the problem, the 2144668. So you guys probably don't have this problem. It's just showing on mine. And that's because it's an auto renew job from Snap. So it's blocking our manual command. So you guys probably don't have this. So if you don't have it, you can bypass this. So we're just going to say sudo kill 2144668. Let's see. So let's try that again. Okay, we're good. So now we can run it manually. So we're just gonna say sudo portfolio. There we go. Awesome. So let's see. So we're requesting a certificate. There we go. It's been done. Okay, so now we have the SSL for it. Awesome. Now we're gonna use PM2. So now before we even use PM2, what we're gonna say is npm run build. So it's gonna run the, wait, what's going on right now? So let's see. We're gonna say npm run build. So let's do this npm install. So let's give it a second. Awesome. So the packages have been installed. Now let's say npm run build. There we go. So we should be good now. So this is running on Next.js 16. So we have the Turbopack. So there we go. And just like that, it's done. So we're going to go ahead and hit clear. Now we're going to be using PM2 since we have in our script that the start here is going to be next start production at 10:45. All we're going to say is PM2 start npm name portfolio. So we're going to name it portfolio start. There we go. And as you can see, portfolio is online. So if we go back here and we say portfolio.boltluna.io, there we go. As you can see, we have our portfolio set up. It's that easy. So what if we want to change this name from a king to just portfolio or something else within our application? We just want to change it up. Rather than going back and pushing to GitHub and then cloning from GitHub or pulling from GitHub to our VPS and then restarting PM2, we can do all that without having to push a single command. That's where CI/CD pipeline with GitHub Actions comes into place. So what we want to do first is let's go over to portfolio YouTube because I want to show you guys how to do this even if your portfolio, even if your repo is private. So let's go over and private our, let's see, settings. So let's see, how do we make this private? If I can remember, change visibility, change to private. I want to make it private. There we go. Make this repo private. Awesome. So now it's private. As you can see, this padlock there. So now let's go over to portfolio YouTube. So now that it's private, well, how do we go about setting up that CI/CD pipeline with GitHub Actions? So let's go ahead and clear all this out. We want to start fresh. So the first thing we want to do is we want to generate a deploy key for GitHub Actions. So this key lets GitHub Actions log into the VPS to deploy. So we're going to say SSH keygen TED25519 C, and we're going to call it GitHub portfolio deploy. Portfolio deploy. So it's going to generate a private and public key pair. Now it's going to ask us which file we want to save it in. You're going to save it as, so let's copy this. And we're going to say underscore GitHub underscore portfolio. We don't need the passphrase. So we have our key fingerprint here. And now what we want to do is we want to get the public key and add it to our VPS. So we're going to say, let's clear out of this. We're going to say cat squiggly slash .ssh slash ID underscore ed25519 underscore GitHub underscore portfolio dot pub. There we go. So this is our full public key. Now, you don't want to share your public or your private key. So I'm only doing this because I'm going to be deleting the whole thing once I'm done. So this is just a tutorial. So don't try to use it. But this is just make sure this is a credential. So don't make sure you're not showing anyone your credentials. So what we're going to do is now we're going to go back to our VPS, and we're going to say, let's go back to C. So we're just going to say CD. We're going to go to our VPS, and then we're going to say make directory P squiggly slash dot SSH, and we're going to say nano squiggly slash dot SSH slash authorized keys. Cool. So I'm gonna blur out every single thing. So the only thing you're gonna see is me adding the public key. So let's go back over here, and we're gonna copy this whole thing here, copy it, and we're gonna paste it right in there. So that's gonna be our GitHub portfolio deploy, and we're gonna say exit save. Yep. So just like that, we're done. So now we want to fix the permissions. So we're going to say chmod 700 squiggly slash dot ssh. And then we're going to say chmod 600 squiggly slash dot ssh slash authorized underscore keys. So now we're going to test that the deploy works. So we're going to take, we're going to SSH into it. We're going to do this. I'm just going to copy mine here. So we're going to SSH into the GitHub portfolio, and we're going to say root at, let's see, let's open this up. There we go. This is my IP. And we're just going to place that in there. Awesome. So as you can see, it works. So it logs in without a password. That means it's successful. So now what we want to do is we want to add our GitHub secrets for deployment. So we can clear out of this. We're pretty much halfway through. So now we can go into our Chrome, and we're going to go into GitHub repo, which is our portfolio YouTube. We're going to go to settings, and we're going to go to secrets down here, and we're going to go to actions. Cool. So now you're going to add new repo secret. So you're going to click that. Your new secret, your first secret name is going to be VPS underscore SSH key. Cool. So this is going to be our private key. So we're going to say, let's come down here. So we're going to get our private key, we can come down to, we can close out of this. We'll come down here, and to get our private key, we're going to say cat actually, let's just copy this. So here, the only difference is we're not going to put pub. It's going to be our private key. So we're going to click this. So you're going to take everything that says begins open SSH private key all the way to end open SSH private key. So you're going to take all, including the hyphens, you're going to take all of it, copy it, and you're going to paste it in there. And then you're going to add secret. And then you're going to create a new repo secret. And this one's going to be called VPS host VPS host. So here it's going to be our VPS IP. So we're going to come back here and we're going to find our VPS IP. And I believe I can just come back here and do this. And just copy all of this. Cool. And paste it in there. So that is our VPS IP. So once we do that, we're just going to add secret. Cool. We're going to create a new secret. And this is going to be called VPS user. And the VPS user here is going to be called root. So because here, when we SSH into the root at the IP. So it's going to be root. And we're going to add secret. And then we're going to do new repo secret. And this is going to be VPS app directory. And it's going to be /root. So actually, we can just do this. So let's come down here. Let's see, ls cd portfolio YouTube, cd portfolio YouTube, clear. So we can just say /portfolio YouTube. So we're just going to copy this, come back over here, paste it in there, add secret, and then we want the PM2 app name. So new repo, so PM2, PM2 app name, and this is going to be called, so for PM2 app name, we called our PM2, let's do this, let's open up another one here, and actually we're already here, so let's just say PM2 list, and we called it portfolio. That's our PM2 app name. It was called portfolio. So what we're going to say is we're just going to call this portfolio. Portfolio. Add. So once we have these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, once we have these 5 secrets, what we're going to do is we're going to add a GitHub Actions workflow file. So we're going to say, let's come over here to our, so let's come over here to portfolio YouTube, and it's going to say add file. We're going to say create new file. And here we're going to call this file .github/workflows/deploy.yml. Awesome. So within here, what we're going to do is we're going to open Chrome. We're going to open new incognito file. And then we're going to go to chat OpenAI. And here is where we're going to be using AI to basically streamline our process. So we're going to say, we're going to ask it to create, can you please create a full CI CD workflow YAML that encompasses let's see, well, that encompasses VPS SSH key, and that's going to be, we're going to paste this in there as such, VPS host, and it's going to be, so the host is going to be our IP, our IP address. So it's going to be the VPS IP address. So it's going to be this. So you're going to give it your own, you're going to give it the IP address for it. And then you're going to say, and then next it's going to need the VPS user. And this is going to be root. So basically everything we just gave it. And then I'm just going to copy and paste these last two. And then we're going to need VPS app directory, which is going to be this, and the VPS name is going to be this. And then we're going to say this is for PM2 plus Next.js. So we're going to give it a second and see what it there we go. So we're all done here. We're just going to copy this code and we're going to paste it. We're going to paste it here. So let's come back over here. Let's go to there we go. And we're just going to paste that in here. And we're going to hit commit changes. And we're just going to hit commit changes. It's saving, and that's it. So once we're done with that, now we can continue. So now we can continue by stating we can continue. So this is going to be step 6. We want to generate a GitHub SSH key on the VPS, and this is because the repo is private. So what we're going to say is on the VPS. So let's go over to the, and if anything I'm saying is a little confusing, let me know in the comment section, and then I'll be able to further elaborate. So on the VPS, so we're going to go back to our VPS here. We're going to hit clear, and we're going to say SSH keygen T ed25519 C VPS portfolio GitHub. So it's going to generate a public private key pair, and we're just going to hit enter. Okay, so no, because I don't know what file that is. So let's do it again. Which file do we want to save it as? So here we're going to save it as, let's do this. And this is going to be underscore portfolio. We don't need a passphrase. We don't need a passphrase. Clear this out. And now what we're going to say is we're going to add this public key. So we're going to say cat/root/ .ssh id underscore ed25519 underscore portfolio .pub. So we're going to take this public key, I'm going to copy it, and then we're going to go to GitHub, and we're going to go to our repo here, so portfolio YouTube. We're going to go to settings. Let's see, we're going to go to deploy keys. And we're going to say add deploy key. And here we're going to call it VPS portfolio key. What you call it is arbitrary, so it's whatever you want to call it, and we're just going to paste that in there, and we're just going to add key. Cool. Now our VPS can pull your private repo. So now we want to configure the VPS to use this key for GitHub. So we're going to say, let's come back into this. Now we're going to say nano/root/.ssh/config. And then we're going to say, this. So host github.com, hostname github.com, identity file /root/.ssh/id ed25519 underscore portfolio, because that's what we call the private key. And then we're going to save it. So we're going to say save. And here we're going to fix the permission. So we're going to say chmod 600 /root/.ssh/id underscore ed 25519 underscore portfolio. Oh, this should be a dot. There we go. And now we're going to say ch. So I'm just going to take that again. And then it's going to be ssh/config. Cool. So now we're going to convert our repo on VPS to the GitHub SSH URL. So we're going to say git remote set URL origin git at github.com, and let's do this. So let's just take it from here. So we're going to take this. So our username and our repo.git. So we're going to copy that. So git at github.com, and then your username /portfolio youtube.git. We're going to enter that. So we're going to test the connection. SSH test git at github.com. Oh, SSH. There you go. You've successfully authenticated, but GitHub does not provide shell access. So that's practically it. So now we're going to test pulling. So we're going to say git fetch origin. There we go. And we're going to say git reset hard origin /main. There you go. Is now add GitHub Actions workflow for deployment. So we're all good. So now we want to say, let's see. Now we want to come over to, let's come over to our application here, page.js. What do we have? Nav. Oh, I think I just put everything there. Yeah, nav is here. So for nav, instead of a key, let's change this to portfolio. Let's save that. Let's come back to portfolio YouTube here. Let's say git add, git commit, updates, name, nav, clear. Let's say git push. Okay, so you're gonna get this error. So basically what we did was we created this file, GitHub workflows, so it's gonna clash. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna say git pull rebase origin main. And then we're going to say git push origin main. So now let's see. So git, where did we have before? So let's clear this. So let's go over here. Let's go to actions here. As you can see, this is loading, it's pending. So it's deploying that commit. So let's see if it works. If it turns green, it works perfectly. If it does not, that's a problem. So let's see. Okay, so it ended with an error. So let's see why. Build and deploy. You're using for Next.js 20. Oh, there we go. So you're using Node.js 1820. For Next.js, Node version 20.9 is required. So this is the only problem we're having. So we're going to have to change within our file. So within our file here, we're going to have to change to version 20. So we're using Node.js 18. So here where it says name, use Node 18, actions version 3. So here we're just going to change this to 20. So let's go over to edit this file. So here we're going to change this to 20, version 4. And this is going to be Node version, let's just say 20. And that's it. And commit changes, commit changes. Awesome. So now let's try it again. So let's go over to actions and it's going to try it again. So hopefully that's the only problem we had. Okay, let's see. So we have another error. So let's see. So we're missing an API key. So this is, so when we run build, it's saying we're missing an API key. So let's see, cd, let's come back SSH here. So I'm going to go ahead, open my vim.env and see if that's working. So we have our in our .env here, we have our credential in there. So what we forgot to do was add that same credential into our secrets and variables within GitHub repo. So we're going to come over to GitHub repo, settings, secrets and variables, actions, and we're going to create a repo secret. And this is going to be called resend API key. And I'm going to go ahead and paste this in. So after we do so, now we want to go into our file. So let's go ahead and go into our file here. And here where it says install dependencies, where is it? Install dependencies and PM2, we're going to say, npm-ci, we're going to say env resend API key, and this is going to be secrets dot resend API key. Cool. So let's see, we also have to do one more thing. So upload project to VPS, run az delete. So here we're going to exclude .env. So now we can go over here and commit changes. Cool. So what we did was here we added a resend API key, install dependencies, npm-ci, env resend API key. We added this secrets.resend API key. And then down here, we made sure when we upload project to VPS, for the delete, we exclude .env. That's all we're doing. And now we can go back to actions and we can see if this is working. So we get this error again, And then let's see why we're getting this error. Pass it to the constructor, new resend. So this is still a problem. So let's do this. Let's come over to API. And rather than const resend here, what we can do is we can say const. So what we can do is we're going to say const API key is equal to process.env.resend API key. Awesome. We can say if there's no API key, then console.error resend API key is not set. We can say return next response.json error email service is not configured. Status here is going to be 500. Cool. And now we can say if there is no resume URL, then console.error resume public URL is not set. Return next response.json error resume URL is not configured. Status here is going to be 500. Cool. Now we can say const resend is equal to await resend dot emails dot const resend is equal to new resend API key. Awesome. So now we can take this part away. So we can do this. SSH. So this is debugging literally live. So we're debugging this live. So as you can see, I haven't pushed anything. Nothing is working yet. So we're debugging this live. So let's see, git add, git commit, update, git push. Okay, let's see. Okay, so now let's see, let's try that again. So we can actually click on this and see where we're at. There we go. So now all this is done. Upload project to VPS. So let's see what the error is. Okay, so this is actually an easy fix. So what this is saying is the remote directory, so our VPS app directory does not exist yet on our VPS, so Resync can't copy files into it. So right now, if we go into Portfolio YouTube and we go to Workflows, Deploy YML, if we scroll down here, let's see, where are we? Deploy files. Yeah, deploy files to VPS. So right now it's saying secrets.vps apps. Where is it? Yep, secrets.vps apps slash directory. But on our server, that path doesn't exist yet. So what we want to do is we want to go ahead and write a little command before Resync steps into the workflow. So we're going to say set up SSH, run, ensure. So here we're going to say let's say deploy files. Or what we can do is we're going to go ahead and do this. So we're going to let it be known that so let's come back to ChatGPT and just edit this. We're going to say my env is resend, what was it called? Resend, what did we call it? It was resend something. Resend API key. Also, so my env is resend API key. Also, the node version is 20. Also, make sure also upload all the project files via resync excluding .env. There we go. All right. Okay. So now we can copy this code rather than just doing everything over again. And let's get back to this. Paste it in there. Commit changes. Commit actions. So let's see. So as you guys can see, we're kind of working on this live like together. But in the description, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I put all the proper steps. So all proper 10 steps. So you can just follow it together. Okay, so here it's still saying resync az delete. No such file. So this is the only problem. Everything else is working perfectly. So upload project to VPS resync. So this is the only problem we're having. So basically this is telling us that our file, our directory doesn't exist. So this is actually an easy fix. So I know I said that earlier, but this is an easy fix knowing that it's just this. So let's go to settings. Let's go to secrets and variables, actions. And then we're going to go to app directory and we're going to edit it. And now we're going to change it to root / portfolio YouTube / portfolio YouTube. Okay. So now we go back to actions. Cool. Now let's go back to this. We can close out of this. Close out of this. Let's go to page.js. We can call this portfolio. So about contact. So let's see, what else can we change? Actually, that's fine enough. Portfolio. Let's come back here. Git add, git commit, update, git push. Okay, so we're just gonna do this again. Rebase origin. And then we're gonna say push origin main. Okay, let's see. There we go. So we should be good now. Dependencies, we should be okay. Come on, this is the last one. There we go. There we go. And just like that, it's built. So sorry it took so long. It's just we have to debug. Not everything works that fast. So if we refresh this, and bam, our application breaks, of course. So let's see why. So let's go over here. Let's see PM2 list. So this errored. Why did it error? PM2 logs, number 9. So let's go back to Chrome. Let's come here. So everything works. So let's make sure we go back to settings. We go back to secrets and variables, actions, PM2 app name. Let's make sure this is portfolio. Cool. So now we go to actions. Let's come back here. We come here now. PM2, delete 9. And then we can relaunch it. Let's say PM2 start npm name portfolio cwd /root /portfolio YouTube /portfolio YouTube start. So let's come back here. So after debugging, turns out we're omitting dev dependencies. So Tailwind post CSS plugin is never getting installed. So what we need to do is we need to state, let's see, clear all this out. So in our portfolio YouTube, we need to state npm ci. Awesome, so that works well. So now we're gonna say PM2 npm run build. So it's gonna create an optimized, there we go. It should be, there we go, we're all done. Now we're just gonna run, I'm just gonna copy this really quickly and go through it with you guys. So we're just gonna put this there. PM2 stop portfolio true, PM2 delete portfolio true, PM2 start npm name portfolio, CWD root portfolio YouTube start, PM2 save, PM2 logs portfolio lines 30, and we're just gonna run that. So let's see. There we go. See, patience is very nice. So here, as you can see, it says portfolio or portfolio since I can't spell. So now we want to come back to Chrome. Let's come over here and let's go to a portfolio YouTube. We're going to come here, deploy YML. So install CI. That's cool. Let's see. So here where it says install production dependencies, we're just going to take this out. So let's go ahead and edit this file. And we're going to take this out, install production dependencies. And we're going to take that omit. And that's it. We're going to go ahead and commit changes. And we'll go to actions, build and deploy. So we should be good. Everything worked earlier, so we should be good. So let's see. So thanks for sticking with me, guys. This is a little tricky, but once you figure out how to do it with a privated repo, you'd be able to do it with a public repo twice as easily. So let's see. So that's done. Install and restart PM2 on VPS. There we go. There we go. So now let's come back here and we're good. So now I can come in here and actually spell this right, portfolio, and come back up here, git add, git pull, git add, git commit, update. So before I even do that, let's come over to package.json, and I'm going to change this to, wait, not package.json, layout. We're going to title this portfolio. My portfolio website. My software development portfolio website. We're going to say git commit, git push. Okay, so we just got to do the same thing again. Cannot pull with rebase. You have on stage changes. please commit a stash them, git commits, updates. So what's going on? Git commit, git add, git commits, updates, git push. Okay, now let's see. There we go. And then git push. Okay, so now let's come over here and let's see if anything works. So let's give it a second. It usually takes a little bit. So it's working. It's just going to take a little second. So we don't need this anymore. So we're just going to give it a second for it to finish here. But yeah, thanks for sticking with me, guys. It's a little tricky, but once we figure it out, we figure it out. So once this succeeds, we're going to be able to see the change. So give it a second here. So as you can see, update was successful. So if we refresh this, portfolio, and the name portfolio, and that's it. So that's the whole project. So that's how you deploy an application to Hostinger, make the application private as a repo, make the repo private, and still be able to create a CI/CD pipeline using GitHub Actions. If you have any questions, once again, I know this was a little bit tricky. You can reference the description. That's going to have the complete 10 steps, the 10 ways to completely go about it in order. If you got mixed up anywhere, I know it was a little all over the place a little bit, but if you have any questions as well, if you have more questions, you go ahead and ask in the comment section, and I will be sure to help answer those questions. With all that said, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you on whichever one we decide to build out next. Peace.